Still on security. Joining us right now in the studio is Channels Television's data analyst, consultant Babajide Ogunsanwo. Many thanks for joining us on the news at 10.
Good evening.
So looking at all of the issues, facing Nigeria, the fight against terrorism seems to be going through the valley. Everyone's concerned about the recent attacks they called bandits in some parts of the north. Is there really anything that security agencies are overlooking and should be doing?
The first is we call them bandits, and let's reflect on what happened over 15 decades ago. On the same day, April 14, 1865, Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. And so while that happened, the politicians called it an assassination, but majority of the American citizens called it an act of terror, not assassination. And so today we have a new word, bandits. Are they really just bandits? Consider this. If I hold on to this sheet, what would you say it is? Some people will say this is a white sheet of paper, but that's not the full explanation. It's a white sheet of paper that has a red mark on it. That is the full explanation. So today we should ask ourselves, are these people only bandits or are they terrorists? That is the first question. The second is, what is everywhere in Nigeria is perhaps what should President Buhari do? And I think I know what he should do, but before explaining what he should do, I think he's already suffering from an overdose of advice. The DIA is advising him, the NIA is advising him, the DSS is advising the president.
So he doesn't know which advice to take.
His wife is advising him. Everyone is advising him. Religious clerics, the APC, the PDP, even President candidate Abubakar is advising him what to do. So already he's suffering from over-advice. What I think he should do is sit down, close his ears, and go for faster and better decisions. Already he has enough sufficient good advice. And I think that is one thing that should really move us into fighting terrorism, making faster and better decisions by the president.
Let me ask on Zamfara and the security concerns there. Is gold mining linked to them? Do we have any evidence?
Gold mining is an hypothesis. Here's what I mean. If you look at the production of gold, the data released, the official data released by the National Bureau of Statistics, they say Osun State produces the most gold in Nigeria. Over 39,000 grams worth of gold was produced in Osun State last year. Zamfara produces a third of what Osun State produces. Does Osun State have the same level of violence? And so production of gold cannot be the real cause of the problem. From the evidence, the real cause of the problem is what I could name PURE, P-U-R-E. The first P stands for poor regulation. The mining sector in Zamfara State is poorly regulated. That is the first cause. The second is there is an under-reporting of gold that is produced in Zamfara State. What do I mean by under-reporting? From the data we have, the gold that is produced in Zamfara is only 14,500 grams, the equivalent of the weight of just a 5-year-old girl. Is that really what is produced in Zamfara? The equivalent weight of gold, the equivalent weight of a 5-year-old girl. The third challenge is radicalization. And by radicalization, I'm talking about the terrorists finding it easy to infiltrate the homes of families that are ignorant, poor, and unemployed. And the third is exploitation. And in the days ahead, I will explain what I mean by exploitation of land.
Can we get out of this?
Oh, yes, I think we can. Already, the military is working on some interesting strategies. So we have the Operation Safe Corridor that has been introduced by the Office of the Chief of Defense Staff and the Defense Intelligence Agency. Now, listen carefully to this. Top international counter-terrorism professionals rate the Operation Safe Corridor, which is a de-radicalization program, as one of the most effective counter-terrorism programs in Africa. And what we will expect in the days ahead is the military will continue with such creative solutions. But again, the challenges we face do not require only a military solution. It requires an urban development problem. We need politicians to fight less. Again, because when politicians fight, that is the sweet recipe that allows terrorism to cook very well. We need politicians to fight less, and so that we all work together to ensure that we find more creative solutions to ending terrorism. Again, I'm sure you don't need advice on what to do right now. The president already has an over-advice syndrome, and I think we just need to make faster and better decisions.
Well, I'd like to thank you for joining us on the news at 10. Babajide Ogunsanwo, our Channels Television's data analyst.